to another episode of the Halas Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi. Two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone
I think we're live.
is better than shouting
Bear
at
with
their
me.
television.
This is all brand new for us. So welcome to Halas Huddle, to episode 34. Sweetness.
It's got to be. There's only one, right?
Yeah, we're gonna
Walter Payton episode.
We're gonna make this the start of season 2.
That's right.
Okay, episode numbers will keep going, but this will be season 2. And yeah, we're excited. This should be our first live broadcast. I'm hoping that it's working correctly. I honestly have no way to know or tell. It says we're live. It says we're going. So if anyone's in there, go ahead and shoot us, throw us a chat just so we know everything is working. You can hear us okay. But this is exciting. This is going to be our mock offseason 2.0 episode. We've been hyped up for this for a few weeks now. It's really kicked in over the last couple of days.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel like this is the perfect way to say we're starting season 2, because this is how we can launch into season 2.
Yes.
And we are live. We can tell. Thanks for the shout out there. We forgot something.
Yeah, we did. Bob reminded us. I know we've gotten a lot of heat for it from some people, but hey, this is our brand.
Let's
so
do it.
Huddle up. All right, I know.
You didn't even tell us who was talking.
What do you mean?
Your name, my name.
Yeah, you guys all know by now. So, I mean, I'm Adam Hogue. This is Adam. No, I'm sorry. I'm Rob Schwartz. And as always, with me is my good buddy and co-host, Justin Onayemi.
There we go. And it's live, but we're going in bear weather here.
We are. I actually left work early today. I chickened out, even though last time we had no snow. However, and this is just a real quick story. I know everyone's here for football. If anyone Googles or heard about, but there was a bank robbery that happened in downtown Chicago today, right on Wacker and Madison. If I left 15 minutes earlier, I would have actually been involved that. There was a shooting, 20-25 shots were done.
Yikes.
As far as I know, only the security guard was shot. He is okay.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he got shot in the shoulder.
Oh, I shouldn't joke. Never mind.
Yeah, I don't want to joke about it.
I'm sorry.
I believe they haven't even, as far as I know, they haven't even caught the suspect yet. But
do they know where John Morant is?
I mean,
that was
Joe Mixon.
That was my joke.
Joe Mixon.
Sorry.
But I was walking through the police area, and I didn't even know that it was being completely sealed off. It was.
Yikes. Well,
yeah. So I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah.
Right.
My goodness.
But yeah, horrible snow, bear weather.
Yeah, bear weather. One of the things. So we're going to take the Bears from where they are right now to where they could be come the start of the season. That's including, do they need to re-sign anybody? Will they be cutting anyone? What are their needs? These are things we've been talking about, but we're doing the whole thing right here.
Yes.
And so I brought up bear weather because we have to decide, Justin Fields says he wants to play in a dome. And some people think that means he's too soft. He was answering a direct question.
We're going to trade him for Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's going to be
okay.
No, don't run away. I'm joking.
Everyone just signed off.
Everyone just signed off. In fact, before you guys run away, I do want to point out that once we get through the free agency period, we're going to take a ad break. We're going to do an ad read. And in that ad read, we're actually going to talk about our next giveaway. And that giveaway is going to be hooked up kind of with this episode. We are at currently 230 subscribers. So as soon as we hit 330, we need 100 more subscribers, 330 subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. And if anyone's not familiar, but Obvious Shirts is what I'm going to use as the giveaway. We're going to go ahead and give away any t-shirt that's on there. They're roughly $30. So you can pick what size, you can pick which, it doesn't even have to be Bears. I would prefer that you guys pick Bears, but they have a ton of different designs. In fact, this is one of them that they did for Jeff Dickerson when he passed away. This all went to charity. It's a great company. They do great work over there. So stay around for more information. In fact, I kind of just gave all that information away.
That's okay.
That's the problem with these live episodes. I didn't plan for that. So.
All right. Well, let's go. So I think the first thing we're going to do is kind of look at where they're at right now, which everyone knows includes massive amount of cap space.
Yes.
But they will need to possibly think about restructuring some deals, re-signing some players. They just did, actually. Blasingame.
Yeah, Kari Blasingame is back.
And then cuts that could add to that salary cap. So right now, Bears are sitting number 1 in the league with the most cap space by a mile. And I believe you can tell us, but I think it's 95 million right now.
They are at 95 million. That is correct. Now, when we do this, we are going to assign values, right? But we are going to not worry so much about what that's going to be because, in all honesty, some of these guys, I think they're going to front load, and then they're not going to put themselves in the Ryan Pace situation where they just keep kicking it down the road. So, like, if they were out to go out and sign one of the top free agents, there's a good chance that they're going to make that AAV pretty high to begin with.
Agreed.
And then kind of taper off at the end.
And that's why we'll just take it as an average. But I want to trust in this new regime that they're going to play things smart. And I actually am going to go into that a little bit, not in a Justin's rant so much, but the way this offseason is positioned was not by accident. And so I want to say some more about that when we get a little bit towards the free agent part of this. But before you can even get there, it's very important. You got to figure out what you have and what you lack. And we know they lack a lot of things.
They do. All right, I think we'll just start going down the line here. So the top, we did this last time. The top guy who's getting paid this year is Eddie Jackson. He is going to make $17 million. If we were to cut him, they would actually save quite a bit. You could also try to trade him if you wanted to do that as well. His salary cap is $17 million. His dead cap hit is only 9.5.
So how much would that add to the cap? And I'm not saying we cut him because I definitely have a strong opinion the other way. But what would that add to the 95 million? 8 million?
Yeah.
Okay. But they should not be cutting Eddie Jackson. They should not be trading Eddie Jackson. He's demonstrated enough in this new regime that he's bought in, that he's a leader. And to do that, I think would not settle what you do have building right now. Yeah. So he's on the team. In my mind.
Real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Charles Presley, who's watching live and in the chat, because he definitely comments on a lot of our stuff, and we really appreciate that back and forth. So welcome in. Glad you're watching.
What's up, Charles?
Okay, so I agree with you. He's also 30. His contract's good through 2025. I don't even think we restructure because I don't want to kick that down the road, right?
He's good where he's at.
Now, the next guy is Cody Whitehair. I think we're still on the same page. So Justin and I did a little prep. We are not thinking the same way that we did clearly back in November when we did the last episode.
Right. We knew that was premature. It was super fun, though.
Guys have already been signed.
Yeah.
So we are now going to do Cody Whitehair. I think that we just go ahead and cut him.
I would like to cut him as well.
So his salary this year is $14 million against the cap. And if you cut him then designate him as a post June 1, you can do that right away. Okay, you don't have to wait. Cut him, designate as a post June 1 cut. They're going to save $9.9 million.
Can we just call that 10?
We can just call that 10. But it's going to add to it.
Okay. So, yours will be the right to the dollar, but I'm going to we're at 105 now.
All right. So Cody Whitehair is gone.
Now, obviously, this is also admitting that the offensive line is going to be a major point of emphasis in what needs to be rebuilt.
So I'm going to actually
say you just created another hole by cutting him.
We did. But it's also good that you are keeping track of this because it does not let me designate him as a post-June cut. So on here, I only have 100 million, but I think we might need that 5.
Yeah, I agree. We're going to need every dollar, I think. Well, that's not quite true. But all right, who else we got?
All right,
we don't have to go over literally every person.
No. I just want most of the names that are like actual cut candidates is what we're going to touch base on. So Justin Jones is a guy that we've talked about. We just did the last episode where we were trying to designate who's actual starters and who's not. Justin Jones was a half starter.
Yeah.
For us.
I think you got to keep him unless it really comes down to dollars and cents, but I don't think they want to get into that game.
So his salary is $7.4 million. It's not enough for me to think about.
He's on the team. He's on the team for next year.
All right. Lucas Patrick, though. So he is going to make $5.3 million this year. Obviously barely paid last year, was like a turnstile out there.
Barely played. He was very much paid.
No, he paid. Yeah, paid. Played. Okay. Did I say not?
I don't know. I heard you say barely paid.
Okay. Well, what I meant to say, if I did say paid, was played. If we cut him, they save $3.9 million. Like, it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. And are we going to create another bigger hole?
Let's hold on to him. Right now, he's your starting center. If you don't do better, which we definitely hope to do better.
I mean, I might start Sam Mustafer over him
after
that's how bad I talked about Mustafer.
But we're keeping him for now because It's not all about the money. All right.
I'm not even going to joke this time. I joked last time, but we're going to keep Justin Fields. Next up is Cairo Santos, $4.5 million, but the cap hit and the savings was like $1 million. It's just not worth it.
Okay.
But we did talk about potentially bringing in competition. Right? Okay, so now we're at some guys. So I actually thought we could restructure their contracts through this app. We're using the Spot Track app. It does not let us do that. These are guys that we would potentially be re-signing or giving an extension to this year. And they're right in order, actually. Cole Kmet, Jalen Johnson, Darnell Mooney, Chase Claypool. I think you and I are both in agreement that my boy Cole Kmet, right here, this is for you, Peter Baloney, that he should be getting an extension at 24 years old. 7 touchdowns, led the league team this year in touchdowns. I think Jalen Johnson is another guy that we think should be given an extension to. Also 24 years old, has kind of become, not a shutdown corner, I don't want to say, but like he's getting close to that point, right?
Okay, respectable.
Yeah.
People are seemingly throwing away from him.
Yeah.
Which might mean he's locking down in coverage.
And then we got Mooney and Claypool, and I think that's a wait and see situation.
I agree.
Like, I don't think you can extend either of them at this point. You kind of have maybe in the middle of the season, if one of them's balling out, you give them an extension.
Some players and some agents don't like to go into the season and keep negotiations open, but I don't think we're going to take it that deep.
No.
The two that we definitely want to lock up and restructure deals for would be Kmet and Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
So what does that do to the cap?
I mean, at this point, I think we just leave it alone.
Okay.
I'm not going to.
Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
Do you want me to knock it back down to that 100? Or
just leave it at the 100. That's fine.
Okay.
Travis Gibson was a half starter for you, I believe, and then I had Dominique Robinson as my half starter. So since we're Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham, and we're working together, and it's not like Ryan Poles technically has the title, but we're gonna work together and come to decisions together. So I think obviously we're gonna keep him, right?
Yeah.
I think we got to keep Kendall Vildor too. I'm not a big fan of him, but we need the depth.
Oh, you need it. And
he's only costing $2.8 million.
This is all what we're doing, entering the draft, entering free agency. I should have said it in the other order there. But some of these guys could later be cut. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of things. So.
All right. So there's no one else on here. I think that we need to worry about cutting, and they don't have anyone worth trading outside of Eddie Jackson.
Right.
So
we're sticking with what's there, and we're just going to go that we have $100 million to spend.
All right. If there's anyone that you guys think we should cut that we did not speak to, definitely throw it in the chat. Maybe we'll bring it up here. But we're going to move on to free agency. Free agency starts technically on Monday. The Chicago Bears can sign anyone that was on the active, on their active roster for 2022, which means David Montgomery could be re-signed before Monday. It doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. He just cleared out every Chicago Bears thing on his Instagram. So I do think that is a very good sign that he is going to at least hit free agency. Now that he does, and with the franchise tagging of Tony Pollard, the franchise tagging of
Josh Jacobs,
Saquon Barkley, there's a good chance that Montgomery will not be in a Bears uniform in 2023.
Well, it's a deep running back draft.
It is.
We like Khalil Herbert.
Yes.
And do you take a guy like Miles Sanders? I mean, there's all those.
There are other guys out there, so clearly.
But we now that Saquon, the dream of Saquon's off the board, I do kind of like the idea of Montgomery and bringing in a rookie. But we'll see. We'll see what we're allowed to do.
All right. Well, I guess that kind of brings it to it, though. Okay.
Well, don't you think the main question that first has to be answered as we enter free agency is the Orlando Brown? I mean, we put up a poll question, and I think that frames the whole conversation. So, although we did not talk pre-show, we both admit that we were on the fence over the last couple days. So, I think I want you to kind of frame if they don't go that route, and then I think I can convince you.
So, I've gone back and forth on this over and over and over again. It is one of those situations where he's not an elite left tackle. He's been to the Pro Bowl, I believe, 4 times in his career. but not every time as a left tackle. He is more built as a right tackle, in my opinion, but he wants to be paid like a left tackle. He's proven he can do it, especially, in Kansas City. He now has a Super Bowl ring. He's had 2 mobile quarterbacks. Like, the problem is, okay, he's going to want between 20 and 25 million is my guess. Right now, I'm blanking on the left tackle in San Francisco.
I don't know. I was thinking McGlinchey, but he's right tackle.
No.
Oh,
Trent Williams.
Okay,
Trent Williams is the highest paid left tackle in the league right now. I believe his AAV is like 25 million. He's going to want top 5 salary. So you're going to have to give him 20 million. So now I'm like, okay, well, would you rather give him 20 million to 25 million a year? Or would you rather invest maybe 12 to 14 million in a right tackle, and then you can spend the difference on a starting center or replacing Cody Whitehair, because you can't just draft everybody. Like, that's the frustration. And then you have the situation where Braxton Jones, can he play right tackle? I know Ryan Poles has mentioned his versatility, but when I see him and I watch him play, his footwork, the way he is with his feet, how agile he is, how quick he is, he doesn't play the play style that I see for a right tackle. He is more of a left tackle. And I worry putting him over there is not going to work out. But in that same sense, you're going to have a 4-time Pro Bowl offensive lineman. And he's only 26. So I see it both ways.
This is what it comes down to. The Bears are in the most incredible position going into this offseason that you could really ever imagine. First pick overall, you think you have your quarterback on a rookie deal. You have $100 million in cap space. Now, one could look at that as they hit the lottery and got completely lucky. But it wasn't luck. First pick was luck. But the trades, the cuts, all the things that Poles did to put them in the position they're in right now, what better way to capitalize on that and to come down right away with force to say, like, this was a plan. This is what we set up. And knowing his connections back to Kansas City, he knows a lot about Orlando Brown. If he thinks it's the right move, so I'm kind of speculating that he's going to think this, you go hard at him. You have way more cap space than any other team. After signing him to what would be a very large deal, and you take that off of the cap they have, they're still ahead of every other team.
Yeah.
And as you said, he's 26 years old. You're putting him at left tackle. It's going to be a lot of money. That AAV is going to be, some people, their eyes are going to go huge when they hear it. But here's the thing. If you don't go Orlando Brown, then I think maybe you're getting a right tackle. You're leaving Braxton Jones where he's at. I see AAV for McGlinchey listed at 15 million or 16 million.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going to get that other player for much cheaper. I mean, it is much cheaper, but I also think that line doesn't impose the kind of threat that we're talking about if you put a guy like Orlando Brown there and he's your anchor. I mean, like you said, he's got the Pro Bowls, which I get it. Sometimes the Pro Bowl at O-line just seems like who'd we put in there last year, put him back in. Right. But he got there as a rookie, I want to say, or in his second season. And he's won a Super Bowl. Bringing that to a team is important. So I'm thinking that's your mark. You know, before we went to the intro we have now, you guys remember your intro was Ryan Poles saying we're going to take the North, and we're never going to give it back. He's setting this up to have a plan, a 3-year plan, I think, while you have Fields on his rookie deal, and even a 5-year plan. So if you go big on Orlando Brown, a 26-year-old, and sign him to a 5-year deal, you've anchored that, whether that's for Fields or a future guy.
So I want to point out, so we're not trying to predict what Chicago is going to do at this point, but I think Justin makes a great point when he talks about the connection that Ryan Poles had. Ryan Poles was there in Kansas City when they traded for Orlando Brown from Baltimore. And I'm going to trust, I mean, we're going to make our decision, but I'm going to trust that whatever Ryan Poles decides, if he decides that paying Orlando Brown is the right move, trying to move Braxton Jones to right tackle is the move, I'm going to trust that he's making the right choice because he knows that guy. He knows that situation. If he decides that it's not worth the money and they're going to walk away, I'm going to trust that he made the right decision there too. So because I like this 2023 draft class more for the right tackle than I do the left tackle, I think left tackle might need to be the priority.
And you say you want to build through the draft, which I agree. You can't do anything about where your starting point is, and it's kind of weak. You're getting a 26-year-old, so it's not like you drafted him, but
Right.
you still see him as a potential building piece to your future.
So the three starting the three top right tackles in free agency right now are Mike McGlinchey, which you mentioned, out of San Francisco. He's a great fit for this offense. They play a very similar outside zone running offense in San Francisco, right? He's 28. Okay. There
are some flaws in his game.
He's average.
Yeah.
He's an average right tackle. He's a slightly above average. No, I'd say he's an above average run blocker, and he's a slightly above average pass blocker. But there's times where he just gets beat bad. Then you got Juwan Taylor coming out of
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. He's 25, right? 25 years old. He is almost an elite pass blocker. Okay, almost elite, to the point where, like, when you see it, it's like, man, this is the guy we need to get. But his run blocking is so bad, like so bad. And the Bears are a run first type team. Now, when you go back and look at his college tape, though, when you look at the draft profiles for him in college, he actually does have the versatility to play both in a zone and like an outside zone run and in like a running gap style offense. So he can do both. He just hasn't translated to the NFL. So if you want to go upside with the younger guy, he could be that right tackle. Then the other guy is Caleb McGarry out of Atlanta. He has a connection to Chris Morgan, the Bears offensive line coach. He's the opposite. Like if you could combine Juwan Taylor and McGarry together,
okay,
they would be an awesome right tackle,
or a really bad one.
But depending on which traits you take, right? But then they wouldn't be in free agency. So whenever guys get to free agency, there's always a reason, right? And if they're not going to invest in their 25-year-old right tackle, I said left tackle earlier, they're not going to invest in their 25-year-old right tackle. Clearly, they see the flaws too.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I just think, and it's not about just simply making a splash, but you're anchoring a very critical position. If you go hard right now at Orlando Brown, yeah, you hope Braxton Jones can go to right tackle based on what he's shown, or he gets beat out by somebody.
All right. You've convinced me enough that for this exercise, we're going to go ahead and sign him. He's going to be our Monday big splash sign.
I think there are two.
Well, I don't know if it'll be Monday for both.
Okay.
I don't know. We'll see, because the other guy I want, I don't know if
I know who
okay.
it is.
And just to be on the safe side, because I don't think he's worth $25 million, but based on the numbers, I'm gonna put it. I say let's put it 23.5. Okay, that's what we'll do. 23.5.
Okay, 23.5.
Okay. He's gonna agree to that. We'll give him a lot of guaranteed money.
Well, and good. They have to structure these deals one way or another because they don't want to hurt themselves in the short term, long term, or anywhere in between. All right. Big splash move.
That puts us at $82 million, by the way.
Okay.
All right. Where do you want to go next? I know where I want to go next. Where do you want to go next?
3-tech.
Okay.
Is that what you're going to say?
I've already made it known who I want as my 3-tech. I brought it up in the last podcast. It was basically all I talked about.
Yeah.
I don't even think we need to spend as much time on this as we did the Orlando
We're gonna go
Brown situation because we just
talked
about it.
Sets the whole stage.
Yeah. So Draymond Jones is the guy I think they need. Okay.
So that's your big splash on defense.
Yeah, and he's going to be somewhere in that 16 to 18 million range.
He's 26 years old.
Also 26 years old.
Well, my point of bringing this up is the guys you're going to spend big on have to be in that younger, a little younger side, I think, and you give them the years too. So we didn't talk about what that would be for Brown, just the AAV, but are you talking about a 5-year deal?
In my mind, I was thinking a 4-year deal.
Okay. 4 or 5. I'm just putting 4 or 5, but it doesn't matter that much for what we're doing. All right, Draymond, you have him at 16 to 18 million.
Yeah, I think if we give him 16 million, I think that's enough, to be honest.
Okay.
If not, they have the cap space to give him the extra couple million per year, right?
So does that bring us down 60, 66? Which is still, I think, where the second place team would be.
1 second here. Okay, 1, 6, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
You got to build from the trenches, both on offense and defense. You're building in the trenches with both those moves.
Yeah, 66 is where we're at.
All right.
66 million is what we're at still.
We've addressed two. Oh, and remember, just back on our previous episodes, we think there are at least 10 starters to get on this team.
Yeah, so I have a like 53-man roster, like depth chart thing here going. So I'm going to fill these guys in as we go.
Okay.
So we now have our starting left tackle. And we're going to assume that Braxton Jones is going to move over to our right side.
Maybe Leatherwood, although they were using him at guard.
But I mentioned the drift. I think we still bring in some competition.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
And now we have our 3 tech as Draymond Jones.
Very nice.
I think we need a defensive end, and I think we might need 2. And there's 2 guys that I have in my mind.
Would you draft one?
Oh, I'm still drafting one also.
Oh, 2 free agents and a drafted one?
Yes.
Interesting.
Because we don't know what we're going to get in the draft. Like, that's the problem. The only way you know is if you're going to stay at pick 1 and you take Will Anderson, right?
Right.
Like, that's the only way.
I don't see that as a likely scenario for what they want to do.
No, you need draft picks.
All right. So we're going to – so is Yannick Ngakoue one of your DNs?
Yannick Ngakoue is one of my DNs. Now, he's going to be – I think this would be his 6th team.
Ooh.
And the reason is he cannot stop the run.
You sure you want him?
I do.
I heard Marcus Davenport as a name.
Yeah, that guy.
Who else is out there?
Healthy. I mean, there's other options. It's just here. I'll just tell you who the names are. You tell me if there's someone else that you want. Stall for me while I do this.
Well, I'm trying to do it myself. I don't know, man. 2, we might run out of this money a little faster than we thought. I mean, some of these guys could get shorter deals.
Well, we're putting it all into 1 year, and really, that's not the case. Like, yes, even if you front load it, like, it's not going to truly be 23 million that he's going to be getting.
Let me throw out a name first. Although it sounds like we've already made our big splash moves.
Don't tell me Frank Clark.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because not that we wanted to sign him, just that these are things that are being discussed.
Yeah.
Now, I think we've just made 2 huge signings, so a lot of these other ones are going to have to be under the radar. Now, remember Poles last season, which was a different setup. Let's not act like they were the same. He wanted to be patient in free agency and talk about second wave and third wave. I think because of the way they set up the offseason, you have the ability and the responsibility to make those big splash ones. But some of these other signings could be that second wave, third wave that he's talking about.
Yeah.
So some of the guys we might go for now, just because they're the bigger names, we might not get the good value. And if you waited a little longer, you could get a guy just as as good.
Let me bring up a name that I think is a good value.
Okay.
Let's sign Zach Allen out of Arizona.
Okay.
Zach Allen is also only 25 years old. Okay. I would have liked to have both Zach Allen and Ngakoue. If they can make something like that happen, that would be fantastic. Or maybe they bring in somebody who's, what was supposed to be Al-Quadin Muhammad was supposed to be, right?
Yeah, exactly.
He's supposed to be a 5 to 6 sack type guy. Okay. That's kind of what Zach Allen's supposed to be too. He had 5.5 sacks last year. 10 tackles for loss, 20 QB hits, 25 pressures. Like, I really like him. And again, he's younger and he's not going to cost you as much. He's going to cost you around probably 8 to 10 million. Okay. So if we give him the lower end of that, just because of the way that the contract structure is going to be,
right.
Like, I'm not going to talk the total contract.
I got you. And he's the type of guy where if you're not getting him, maybe you're getting an equivalent of him at that lower price.
Correct.
So we're allotting $8 million basically to that pick.
Correct.
And we want it to be Zach Allen. All right.
Now I have to bring something up as we're talking Arizona.
Well, we did also talk about running back, so we might want to come back to that. But go ahead.
what's your thought on sending a second-round pick to the Arizona Cardinals for DeAndre Hopkins? It's come out that they want a second-round pick and potentially a some type of conditional pick based on his results. I think if you sent them a second-round pick, they'd be happy with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the Chicago Bears have 1 second-round pick, and it's pick number 54.
Yeah.
Now, this would be a ballsy move by Ryan Poles, but he already knows the type of deals he's might be getting from trading down.
Well, that's what I was going to ask
with
you.
The first pick.
Would this be a draft day trade, or would you make that earlier? Because I'm not making it earlier. Based on what we might be able to land in a trade, I think you could do not better than DeAndre Hopkins, but better for building something to the future.
Sure. So
I might be tipping my hand a little bit on some of what's going on in my noggin right now.
If I'm understanding his contract situation correctly, I don't want to make that trade before I think it's March 20th, because he gets like a 10.8 like bonus that jumps in, which I don't know for certain. I'd have to look into it more. That might affect like what Chicago would have to pay them versus what Arizona has to pay them. Mm-hmm. Because his cap hit, like his base salary is $19.4 million, which would take a huge chunk out of our money.
I'm not leaning towards that, by the way.
But he's played 19 games, so just over a full season in the last 2 years. Part of that was a 6-game suspension, not an injury, which I think is a good sign, right? I mean, it's a bad sign that he was suspended, but you're not worried about like an injury history,
okay,
right? He had 7 touchdowns. He had 8 touchdowns in 2021. He only had 3 in 2022, but you combine those, that's 11 touchdowns in basically
close to
a little bit over a full season. He had over 700 yards last year, even though he only played 10 games.
See, I think if you're paying him that much and you're giving up a second-round pick, that's a lot.
It is.
In the grand scheme of it all.
Where else are we getting our wide receiver one? So, let's look at
wide
receiver.
It was a weird time for you to bring it up because we're not yet talking about the draft. And in my scenario, I think you get a receiver in the draft.
But I think you have to think macro and micro all at the same time.
Of course. That's why I asked you, would this be a draft day trade?
No, it wouldn't. Because
why wouldn't it though?
I think Arizona wants to get rid of that. I think Arizona wants to move him now so that they can see what they're going to have available in the draft. But I don't think Ryan Poles has to necessarily wait till draft day to trade that first round pick either.
No,
he's talked about trading.
No, and I'm not saying he's going to. I'm just saying you right now hold the keys to the draft. I'm not gonna give away assets in the draft before knowing what we're doing with that, just to get DeAndre Hopkins and pay him that much money.
Let's come back to it.
All right,
chat. Let us know. Is there any of you guys out there who would love to see sending a second round pick for DeAndre Hopkins, knowing that you're most likely going to get at least 1 second round pick back in a draft trade,
of course.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's the 54th pick, by the way, which is almost a third rounder.
Okay.
Or would you not want to do that and look elsewhere at wide receiver? And
So,
we'll come back. We'll circle back to receiver. Let's go back.
Maybe the chat can settle it for us. But right now,
let's go back to running back.
Well, you said 2 DNs. We could finish that off and say we've added 3 veterans to the line and then look at running back. But I'm just saying for how much we might have to allot to it. So before, when we had the Saquon Barkley dream, we kept Montgomery on the back burner as if you could get him at the right deal. Now he might feel his value has gone up significantly because some of the top names are off the market. So he might not want to take the lower deal that we were hoping to get him at. I mean, I wanted to get him at $8 million. Is that realistic at all?
I don't think so.
Is it 10? What are we talking?
So Yannick made $13 million last year.
Oh, I was talking about Montgomery.
Oh, Montgomery. I'm sorry. Yes, I think Montgomery might come in even lower.
Okay.
Some people were saying it could be between 4 and 5 million.
Really? But was that before these other guys came off of the free agent market?
No. I mean, yes. So I do think that value bumps up. When I originally thought it was going to be 6 to 8 million for Montgomery.
Okay.
So I would be completely fine in that range. We could just go 7.
Okay.
What I like about Montgomery is we know he can be a 3-down back if needed, and he can block.
Right.
He can even catch the ball out of the backfield. He pretty much has all the tools. What he doesn't have is elite speed. He doesn't have the home run hitting.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a combination, and we saw it with him and Khalil Herbert, you have that, right? You have that.
Okay. So let's go. Are we signing Montgomery? $7 million? Too much just came in all at once there.
Yeah, I'm.
All right. One of us has to talk and one of us has to read.
All right. So
are we signing Montgomery?
I'm fine with bringing back Montgomery. Let's keep the guy we know.
Okay.
Right?
Montgomery, we're going to try to get him at $7 million. So now we're down to $51 million left, but we just got our starting running back, and I think we still address it in the draft.
And Ryan Poles has spoken very highly of him. I think really what it is that he wants to test the market, I think is what it is. He sees like all these other guys go, and he wants to test the market and see, and Poles is probably going to let him do that. And, we'll see if he comes back or not. Someone might overpay him, and if they do, that's fine. That's fine.
The very, very intelligent Bob Weiss says, I'm with Justin. I'm out on Hopkins. This is still a rebuild. He's not at the point in his career to be a foundation of a rebuild. And he's going to want new money. Like we're already saying, oh, we're going to test Mooney. We're going to test Claypool. Are you also doing that with Hopkins, or are you giving this older guy who comes in new the money?
In my opinion, you bring him in, he plays for a year, at most 2, because he only has 2 years on his contract. And you look to build through the draft this year and next year.
So it's not a full equivalent. It's not. This is all because you want Marvin Harrison Jr.
It is. Yes. Everybody knows
I read through it. I see where you're coming from. How about this then? And this is breaking news.
Who doesn't
today.
want Marvin Harrison Jr.?
I want him. But this is breaking news today. I don't even know if you saw it, and I didn't read too far into it. And it's a little different because you said Hopkins isn't battling off of an injury. Yeah. However, apparently OBJ is auditioning for several teams. I would rather pay him money and not give up draft capital than trade for DeAndre Hopkins. Just saying that. But I'd rather not do either of those things.
All right. Well, okay. All right. We'll leave him alone.
All right.
And I forgot that OBJ was actually out there, to be honest.
Because he sat out. There was talks of him joining a playoff team late, and then no one bit, probably because he still suffered from the injury.
Yeah.
So it'd be a risk.
Keenan Allen might be being cut. See? Like, there's going to be some options. Or maybe you just lowball it and you bring in McCole Hardman. All right. Let's do that
for the sake of this, because I think we need to start going for budget deals now.
All right. Let's bring in McCole Hardman.
McCole Hardman.
We're going to have 4.
We got to pick up the pace, man. I'm getting hungry for some cookies.
All right.
Oh, I'm tipping us here. Tipping our hand.
All right. We got McCole Hardman.
McCole Hardman at what value?
I don't know.
Shorter deal, 2 years. Would he take it?
He didn't do much this year, even though he was, he didn't even get to play in the Super Bowl.
Got a ring.
I mean, $5 million a year. I mean, I feel like that might even be too much. I might be lowballing him here.
Go 4. Well, let's just do 5. Does it have a market value for him?
Let me see. Probably not.
McCole Hardman.
They do have a value here. So their estimated market value for McCole Hardman is $10 million. I'm not paying that.
No way. All right. Well, then we got to go. Let's not address that yet. Oh, I see another listener out there might be hungry too. I mentioned cookies. That's not my secret word. There are no secret words in this one, but all right. We have our starting running back. We have an end that sounds like he'll be in the mix for a starter. We got the 3 tech, which is a real critical piece to Eberflus's defense. We got an anchor at left tackle for years to come. They also need an interior lineman, wouldn't you say, out of free agency?
Yeah, they do.
All right, let's go guard.
The guy I want is Ben Powers.
I agree. Played in Baltimore. Let's point something out here. So Bears, actually record-wise, started out the season okay, because when you look at it, they ended up only winning 3 games. And I think they were they 2-1?
They were 2-2 at one point.
They weren't 2-1 though.
They were 2-1.
They won the first game. They lost the second game. Then I think they beat Houston in game 3.
Yeah.
So they were 2-1 at one point, only to go 3-14. But if you remember, one of the low points in the season, I think, was the Thursday night disgusting 12-7 loss. And they went on a mini bye because it was a Thursday night week. They came back against New England. That's when they picked up what ended up being the last victory of the season. But the team looked very different. And one of the things they did in that mini bye was look at Baltimore's plays and the type of things they ran with Lamar Jackson and said, let's do this with Justin Fields. So you're already getting Orlando Brown, who played in that system.
Yes.
Now let's go Ben Powers. I think he's going to cost you 10 mil, though.
So they're showing 9 mil on here. We can do 10 just to make sure we get him.
Okay. So we're going Ben Powers at 10 million. We're down to 41 million left. Let me just point out there are a lot of teams entering free agency with less than that.
Yeah, and we also need to point out that there's guys on here whose contracts are going to come off and money's going to be moving around. And like we said, we keep putting the full amount there, and they are not going to have the full amount there. I guarantee that.
So
guarantee.
Okay, let's keep going. So now, is that enough in free agency for the line? We said you want to build through the trenches. You also want to build through the draft.
Because we kept Lucas Patrick, I think so.
Okay,
we have our centers.
You're right. Okay, you're right.
I think what we do is we look, and we won't do this in this episode, but I think what Ryan Polsey and Cunningham would do is they would do the draft, see how that shakes out, and then there's going to be a second wave of free agents.
Yes, there will.
Yep. We saw J.C. Treader sign super late.
And there's even stuff going on once camp starts.
Right.
That's going to matter in terms of picking up the right pieces.
Right.
Okay. So they've addressed O-line. They've addressed D-line. You said one more end, and we've addressed running back.
Yeah.
So what about, should we talk about that other end? I think there's another two things you might want to do on offense.
We have Ben Powers. We're going to put Mustafa as our starter for now.
Wow, promotion in Rob's book.
Yes.
How far he has come. How far he has risen. Too bad his snaps haven't risen yet. They just scrape along the ground underneath Justin Fields' legs.
Oh, man, that guy cannot
As long as he can hold that down. Well, other than that, he's a great center, though, right?
All right,
just snapping is an issue.
This makes me very nervous just having Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney on here.
So D-line, we're looking at one more.
We need a linebacker.
Oh, we definitely need linebacker.
And the name that everybody wants, and I feel like now we might be pricing ourselves out of here, is Okereke out of Indianapolis.
I saw his AAV was low.
Oh, it's going to be probably
is it wrong?
I'm seeing 10 to 12 million. What I have on here is probably wrong.
Okay.
Everything I read is his market's probably going to be between 10 and 12 million.
Okay. But we're very thin at linebacker. The only person we have on there is Sanborn.
Yeah.
And of the people we've signed so far, is there anyone you think, oh, we shouldn't have signed him? I mean, this team needs 10 starters.
You need some blue chip players.
Some are going to be rookies, but
yeah.
Last year you started so many rookies. Hopefully you're not in that same boat this time around. All right. I say you got to give him that money.
Indianapolis.
You're looking up the AAV?
No, I'm just signing him.
Oh, okay.
I have a potential defensive end.
Okay.
I have a potential defensive end that we might get as a budget. Who
did you go 10 million?
I haven't.
Yes.
10 million. No. I didn't do it yet, but I was going to do 10.5.
Okay. So we're down to 30.5 million left. All right. We got to start tightening up.
Okay.
We've addressed O-line. We've addressed D-line. Maybe another end, but I don't know if we have that luxury anymore.
I did it again, guys.
Linebacker.
I did it again. I gave Bobby Okereke $105 million.
That's a bit steep. I mean, Orlando Brown, maybe. I'm just kidding. All right. So
it's better than Sam Mustafa. A better investment.
They probably need two linebackers, but can we also say that we could also, that second guy could just be replacement level guy?
Yeah, they have
a budget.
They have other guys on the roster too.
Oh, Morrow.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring him back.
But my point is, whatever you would pay him is something you could pay someone else.
Sure. I mean, they have Sterling Weatherford. I mean, they have other guys.
Okay. So,
all right. So Bobby Okereke is our will.
Okay.
Our right end.
One more end, you said. And then are you going a tight end in free agency?
No, I mean, I'm not worried about that right now. We got to get to the draft.
I agree.
Okay. The end that I'm talking about signed a $3 million contract last year, came away with 10 sacks, and has a connection to Matt Eberflus. Any idea who it is? And he probably won't be signed by Ryan Poles because he's too old. That's your clue.
Connection to Eberflus?
Yep. I think 2 years, maybe just one, at least one.
What do you got? What do you got, Halas Huddlers? I don't know who you're talking about.
Justin Houston.
Ew.
Another Justin.
Okay. I mean, the Justin part I like.
10 sacks he had last year.
I'm surprised this is that high.
Yeah.
And you can get him at $3 million?
He signed for $3.5 million. They're projecting he'll make a little over $5 million because of his age.
Okay.
Right? Like
1 year deal?
Yeah. I mean, I would give him a one at most 2 year deal that you can just get out of after a year.
Okay, Justin Houston.
And then we look to the draft, right? To like fill in other spots. I mean, we need to find some value.
What do we say? Can we do 4.5? I want to get rid of this 0.5 here.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to 26 million.
All right.
That's it for now, man.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there.
We are going to.
So we now have redone the defensive line with Draymond Jones, Zach Allen, Justin Houston. The O-line will look drastically different with Orlando Brown at left tackle, Ben Powers at left guard. We still kept Patrick and Mustafa right now as our centers. Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and then an audition at right tackle, but maybe Braxton Jones. And we re-signed Montgomery at what we hope is a doable price of $7 million. And we have a little bit more at linebacker, although I still think it's an area we're going to need to address more by signing Bobby Okereke.
And I'm at 26 million. Is that where we're at?
26 million left. All right. We need to take a break.
Yeah. So for this break, because we can't do that obviously live, we're going to do
cookies,
some ad read. Okay. We don't actually have advertisers. So we're going to go ahead and first plug Obvious Shirts. Obvious Shirts. That's going to be our giveaway. Again, if we can get to 330 subscribers, it's 100 more. Not if, but when. Okay. So share this, get other people to subscribe. If you're tuning in for the first time or you've turned in before, but you're like, oh, they're live, let's check it out again, and you didn't subscribe, hit that subscribe button. Okay. Any one of our subscribers, any one of you, that 330 is going to be in the drawing. Okay. And just like we did our raffles, we raffle it off and then we give a shirt away, $30 value plus, we'll pay for the shipping and ship it to anywhere in the country. I don't know if they ship out of the country. So if we have anyone listening who's like overseas or in Canada, I don't know if they'll do that. We'd have to find out. Any size, any design, you guys let us know. But I didn't get my ad read ready. But if you're hungry for some cookies,
who isn't?
I got the place to go.
Tell me more.
My upstairs kitchen. Okay.
Oh.
My wife is an at-home baker. The name of her cookie business, she is a cookier.
You give me cookie, I give you. You give me cookie, I give you cookie.
Got to get some New Girl references in there.
She would want that for the ad.
She
would totally want that for her ad.
I forgot to get her puns. I was going to use puns for like spring and Easter. But anyway, she is a cookier. She does an amazing job. Sweet Marie's Bake Shop. You can find her on Instagram. You can find her on Facebook. You can see all of her work. Amazing stuff. She does stuff that is copyrighted that she won't publicize because she'll get in trouble for that. So
instead you did it here.
I did it here. But like you just tell her what you want for your designs. She'll even help you create them. It's amazing. If you need cookies for your, birthday events, weddings, showers, all that stuff, she does it all.
And if you're in the Elgin area, opportunity to even learn, right?
Yeah. So she also does cookie decorating classes out of a place called Dream Hall in Elgin. That information is out there too. Probably on her Facebook. I think it's $60 per person. It's an hour and a half. They have a bar there that you can get drinks. They have a coffee shop. You can get drinks. It's a fun time. She puts on one class a month. So if you're interested, reach out to me. I can put you in contact with her. Or like I said, you can find her on Instagram or Facebook, Sweet Marie's Bake Shop.
All right. So we're going to shift to a part that's very, very talked about which is the upcoming draft where the Bears hold the number 1 pick. And as you alluded to, we don't know how much longer they're going to have that pick. This whole time, you and I have been talking about the possibility of deals. So you want to tell us what we're using here? I think it's a pretty common ones out there that people are pretty familiar with, but it's through Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, we're going to use
mock simulator.
We're going to use Pro Football Focus. And the reason I'm using Pro Football Focus is recently I've been using Pro Football Network, and I just find that their draft trades are very unrealistic. I had one the other day where it was Houston moving up from 2 to 1. They were giving us their first, the number 12 pick.
Both first. Yeah.
Both first.
2 and 12.
2 and 12. They were giving us their second round pick in that, and then a future first and Cleveland's future first, both in 2024. No one's giving them that
just to come up to one spot. So here's the thing. You and I were talking about this pre-show.
Yes.
We kind of want to just go with what's being offered in this simulation. And as Rob said, this is one iteration of how the offseason could go.
Yes.
But we obviously have to base it off of the moves we just said they could make in free agency and things like that. But what I also would like to do is be cognizant of we might not get an offer from Houston. And I'm starting to think in real life they're not.
I would say that the chances of them getting an offer from Houston that's worth taking is probably less than 20%.
Okay. So what that could mean, let's just frame this before we enter into it. A lot of talk about trading 1 to 4 to the Colts.
Yeah.
And you could trade from 1 to 4 to the Colts and select somebody there. We could talk about who that might be. There's been talks about moving further back, and the advantage of going further back is this thing that's out there through that Peter King report, through polls, which is you could be getting a little bit more for the trade in terms of future picks.
Yes.
A first in 2024, a first in 2025. So there's also the possibility you move to 4 and then you move that further back.
Yeah.
7, where the Raiders pick. They just lost Carr. 9 to the Panthers. There's others beyond that even.
The Titans have been rumored at 11, even though they say that they're going with Tannehill. 16 is Washington. Are they really going to go with Sam Howell? I don't know.
So how do you know when you see stuff out there just randomly spewed about of possible trades? Because when you say 11 Tennessee, the trades I've seen have involved Derrick Henry.
I saw that too, and I would turn that down.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. He's got a lot of miles on him.
If they want to give me Justin Simmons, I'd be all for it.
Okay.
Though, right?
True.
Now, this mock simulator does not give you the option to trade players.
It does.
I don't think it does.
I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've done it on my phone.
Have you?
Yeah, scroll down a little bit. Oh, wait, does it not?
Oh,
Player. Yeah, you can do players.
Justin just educated me on something that
wow.
I completely missed.
So that was something we also heard was, would a trade happen sooner because it might involve players? Now, I think the way we attack free agency, we've used a lot of the money to take on a player.
Yeah.
So we're going to probably stick to picks. I know at 9, trading to Carolina, a name I keep seeing that intrigues me a lot is Brian Burns. So because we've already dove so hard into free agency and spent a lot of money, I don't know that I'd want to take on Brian Burns and try to extend him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we wouldn't have signed Justin Houston.
Exactly.
But that's why that trade has to happen sooner rather than later.
Exactly.
So if Ryan Poles is going after a player, it has to happen. That trade has to happen in the next probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Charles, you had a question here saying, is Taylor the cheapest lineman? I'm assuming you're talking about Juwan Taylor. I honestly think he might be paid higher than McGlinchey or equal to just because of his age, only being 25. He's going to be right around the same price. I think Caleb McGarry might be the cheapest out of those 3. All right, so I have our offers here, and I'm a little disappointed.
I'm
a little disappointed. So Justin's right. Houston did not offer us anything.
Okay.
But the Colts didn't offer us anything either.
Oh, boy.
They're not interested. And that bothers me because I feel like you can't trade back twice.
Well, I agree.
There's a wild card in here.
Interesting.
Arizona wants to move up from 3. Now do you throw in DeAndre Hopkins? Just joking.
No, I still don't. But if you trade with Arizona at 3, then you still could trade back twice.
Yes.
Because they might.
Could.
Who would they be trading up for?
Will Anderson would be my only guess.
Okay, so if they're taking Will Anderson, Houston still gets the quarterback they want.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, let's say. And now the Bears would be sitting at 3 with only one quarterback off the board. It's like start the draft over, and there are only 3 names at quarterback. All those teams that we just mentioned that might want a quarterback. In fact, I wonder if we do trade with Arizona, which we can't see, would Indianapolis at that point want to trade up?
Maybe. But in this trade scenario, you are not going to get their first in 2024 and 2025 because they're not trading up for a quarterback. And they're not trading up for a quarterback. There's a premium when you trade up for a quarterback. There's not when you trade up for a guy like Will Anderson.
That's fair, but that's interesting. I don't know why they would do it then.
I don't either. But you said we were going to go off the simulation.
You're right.
Right? So it's probably not likely. So do we really do it? Or do we try to be more realistic?
I want to be more realistic, but you're saying trade to 3 and then trade that. All right, let's go without that. Okay. So we're in a world where Houston's not trading up, and for some reason the Colts are not going to trade up.
All right. So the teams that are interested behind them are the Raiders at 7, the Falcons at 8. Carolina's not down here at 9. No. Okay, so here's what must have happened. Indianapolis got Lamar Jackson. Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets. The Packers are going with Jordan Love. We got a quarterback carousel going on here. Who else was left? Carolina must have gotten Jimmy Garoppolo.
So
wow.
Now you remember in one of the episodes we talked about at 8, do you trade Fields to Atlanta? I'm not proposing that.
No, I think the Raiders are probably your best shot.
All right. Here. Now, are you getting in this trade? Do you think realistically, not what PFF would accept, but do you think to trade from 1 to 7, you could ask for a first in 2024 and a first in 2025?
For sure.
Okay.
And their second round pick. And for good measure, I'm going to ask for a later round pick as well.
Okay. So before you submit that officially, let's make it very clear to the listeners what we're offering here. And you are going from 1 all the way down to 7. I did at some point here, and I don't know what's true, what's real. Polls say there's 7 blue chip guys available. So I guess you're trading down, you're acquiring quite a bit of picks or draft capital, and you're getting what you consider a top guy.
All right, so here is the proposal. We got the first overall pick for their first pick, which is 7, their second round pick, which is 38, their third round pick, which is 70, round 1 pick in 2024, round 1 pick in 2025. I don't have the time to calculate that out. Based on the stuff I've done with the Carolina Panthers at 9, this is probably a little bit of an overpay for the Raiders.
So why don't you throw in one of our picks later?
But
to balance it off.
I think it will still go through.
Well, PFF will put it through. That's what we said. But
well, no, I'm not forcing it. I mean, it gives you a percentage chance of it happening.
Okay.
It's 38%.
I know, but I've run some with like 7%. And they're like,
yep. Still goes through?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not always. It could deny.
All right. Well, let's give them, you know what? It's not on here. So we'll just pretend because it's not on here. We're going to give them, the Chicago Bears, by the way, today gotten a compensatory pick in the 7th round.
Okay.
We're just going to give them a 7th round pick.
Okay, fine. Give them the 7th. Although that's where you could draft.
But it's not on here, so we're just going to move on.
Will they take it?
Boom. Accepted.
The deal has been done. Who are they going with at number 1?
Bryce Young. All right, we're going to pause it. Oh, I was too slow. All right. Bryce Young went first overall. CJ Stroud went second overall. I think that's exactly how the draft will go, unless Indianapolis moves up, because rumors are they like Will Levis. Anthony Richardson went to Indianapolis at 4, so they did not get the quarterback in free agency like I thought. Will Anderson did go to the Arizona Cardinals at 3. Tyree Wilson, who's a guy I really am high on, went 5 to Seattle. And Jalen Carter, that's probably true, dropped to 6. Could drop even further. But he is now with Aiden Hutchinson and
oh dear,
the Detroit Lions. So if Don Burr is listening, you guys might not know who Don Burr is, but if Don Burr is listening, oh my gosh, he would be ecstatic right
now. Detroit got a lot better, but now we're on the clock at 7.
We are. Now there are people interested in this pick. Do we try to trade back, or do we feel like we got enough with the first, second, third,
2 futures,
two
future first? Let's stop there for now because I want to see who's available in the draft. Now, in this a lot of times I've been doing these. I've been trying to trade back to 9 because I feel like the way the board falls, I'm often finding myself wanting to take Jackson Smith Njigba.
Yeah.
But I don't know here if that's the pick. So who do we got on the board?
So we don't want Will Levis. You got the top corners. All 3 of them are still available. Your receivers that are available are Jackson Smith Njigba and Quentin Johnson. Your top tackle, which I don't view him as a tackle, is Peter Skoronski.
But Paris Johnson is available.
Paris Johnson is available if you wanted to go left tackle, but we just signed.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Orlando Brown.
My bad.
So we don't want a left tackle.
No,
if
we
anything,
don't.
we want a right. I would be okay with Skoronski though, because now you're looking at adding interior help, or he could be your right tackle.
He could be your right tackle. Interesting.
So now we could stay at 7, or the next pick available that's interested is the Eagles at 10 or the Texans at 12. The key here is if we want Jackson Smith Njigba, we got to stay above the Packers, right? That's the rumor, but we all know the Packers aren't drafting a wide receiver. I don't know
why Philly would trade up. I mean, I don't know who they're going for. So you're not getting that much. You go back 3 spots and you pick up
3.
But what do you pick up?
I mean,
also their second, or that's too much even?
I don't think you would get their second. I think you'd probably just get their 3rd.
Okay. Is that worth it? Go back 3 spots, pick up another pick in the 3rd. I mean, we still need to fill out our linebackers. We need to get some younger depth on the line, on both lines.
So if we made this deal, they drop back 3 and they would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 picks in the top 70.
All right, let's do it.
All right.
Then we're going to be determined who we get. We're definitely picking at 10.
Okay, so they accepted that.
They traded up to get.
So they took the corner, and this makes sense because they're probably going to lose Chancey Gardner, right? Yeah, the guy that
punched Wims in the face.
Wims.
Oh no, took the punch from him.
Took the punch from Wims. I was blanking on Wims' name. And then Anthony Miller got into it with him too. Will Levis went to the
Falcons. That makes sense.
At 8, and Christian Gonzalez went to the
corner.
Panthers at 9. So they must have got a QB in free agency.
All right, we're on the clock at 10.
So now it's between, in my opinion, JSN or Skoronski. And this is a very, very tough decision. Based on how we went with free agency, the fact that we got Ben Powers and we did not get anybody but maybe Robert Woods, which we didn't mention. I just threw that name out there as a potential free agent. I think we have to go JSN.
I like that. I like it. Okay. I mean, him and Fields have a chemistry from back at Ohio State.
Yes.
They keep comparing him to the other 2 recent Ohio State receivers, Garrett Wilson and Olave. And in that season that they all 3 were together, JSN outperformed both. So we're going JSN, baby.
Yeah. So
he might be a number 1 receiver.
He could be. And I added him, and I feel much better about our wide receiver group now because we have 2 guys with a 3-letter insignia with ESB and JSN.
All right. Whatever it takes. So what's our next pick now?
So I paused it for just a second, but our next pick is 38. Okay.
So let me write down what we got here.
And then we have 54. So we have 2 second-round picks. Now, the question is, do we need to move up at all for anybody?
Okay, let me think here. So we turned 1 into a lot, but we ultimately took 10, JSN. Our next pick is 38, you said?
38, 54,
okay,
62, 64, 70, and I'll just stop at 103.
Okay. So we're 28 picks away. What types? Who else is on the board? Who you got your eye on, or what needs have we not addressed?
So is there a way to see when it's paused who's still available? I don't think there is.
That's stupid. There has to be. Go. Can you scroll up a little?
There's nothing.
Okay.
Yeah, this is kind of a stupid setting that they have.
Because you don't know what you're trading for.
Yeah, so I mean, clearly we know Skoronski's available. Paris Johnson's still available. We got the lineman, Cansey from Pittsburgh, who's awesome. We got Brian Breesy. We got our 3-tech in Draymond Jones.
I agree. I think the amount of picks we have coming up, you're going to get a lot of depth pieces. I don't see
Yeah.
a guy you're going to trade those things up to get.
So center would be a guy I'd be looking at is like Michael John
Yeah.
Smith.
You don't think he'll be at 38?
He could. No, I think he could be.
Okay.
Like that could be our
so, too.
target.
Okay.
I just don't know.
There's like 2 or 3 centers, though.
Is there anyone that's worth moving up for?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
All right. We got our multitude of picks. Remember, this is a team that has a lot of holes, but we're building it right now by accumulating picks in the 2023 draft. We're also getting assets for 2024, 2025, so you can get your Marvin Harrison Jr. if you decide to let Mooney or Claypool walk.
We're just going to let it go. Miles Murphy went, Skoronski, Paris Johnson, Jordan Addison.
Van Ness is a nice end.
Joey Porter, the other corner.
Played at Barrington, by the way. I think Barrington High School.
Joey Porter?
No, Luca Van Ness.
Oh, okay. Zay Flowers was another receiver that I liked. Michael Mayer went in the first round, the first tight end gone. Osiris Torrance was a good offensive lineman, interior that we could have went for. He's gone. Right. So let's see who's available. So we got DeJuan Jones, who I like as a right tackle. That could be a guy we look at.
I do too.
Since we have Braxton Jones, maybe it's a competition.
So we're going to see if we can draft the entire team from Ohio State.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, so DeJuan Jones kind of reminds me of Orlando Brown also. So, like, do you have 2 Orlando Browns on the team, right? The next other guy that I like on here is a defensive end out of Kansas State, Felix and Nudike Azuma. Definitely is like a 4-3 type end.
Can I throw a name out? I don't know how far you'd have to scroll there, but just a guy to keep on the radar.
Yeah.
It's a pick you wouldn't expect. But now that you've accumulated this many picks, maybe you can take a riskier pick. But where is Darnell Washington going? He's a tight end out of Georgia. He was crazy at the combine. They measured him and tested out his measurables, and it was basically Gronk 2.0.
So if I had to guess, we would have to take him here or at 54. He won't fall any lower than 54.
And I'm just saying that as a name of a guy who might be like a little flashy pick. But we addressed receiver, which was a key position. We don't feel as much that line is necessary. Now, you mentioned in a previous thing, Cody Mauch. How far is he right now on the draft board?
So PFF doesn't like him as much.
He's a guard, right?
I view him as a guard. Some people think he can be a tackle, but they don't like him.
Would he be there 54?
He's way down here.
Okay. So what about on the defensive side of the ball? Linebacker, potentially?
So the best linebacker, in my opinion, that's going to be available right now is Jack Campbell. The problem is, well, here's the thing. Do we draft him and he plays the Mike, and then we make Jack Sanborn the Will? He didn't do as well at the Will. Or because we got Bobby Okereke, we feel fine with Sanborn.
Okay.
We kind of just let that position go.
Let it go. But let me ask another position. We didn't address edge rusher yet.
Right.
So what do you think? What's available in the draft right now at number 38, edge rusher?
So my top guy that's still available at the edge position, linebacker is still available. I don't want that.
Oh, yeah, you already said who your guy was, right?
Yeah, the guy out of Kansas State.
Okay.
Let
me see. Okay.
Yeah, he would be the next guy. The other guy I would consider is Isaiah Foskey. But I have Foskey slightly lower in my rankings.
All right. Let's go with the edge rusher.
Just give me a second. Actually, no. I have Foskey slightly ahead of him. So,
let me see.
Do we go with another Notre Dame guy? Foskey's got bigger size. He's 6'5", 280 or 265. Actually ran a 4.58 at the combine for the 40, which not a big 40-yard dash guy, especially for defensive linemen, but like he was a little bit faster than what I expected.
Okay.
Yeah, I could go either way here. Pro Football Focus has Foskey way lower in their rankings.
Okay.
So
we're going with Felix.
Yeah.
Can I see the name?
They're the same team. Felix Anudike Azuma.
Anudike Uzuma.
You said it probably way better than I did.
All right. So that's an edge rusher, which was an important position to address.
Yes.
Um,
By the way, Jack Campbell went the very next pick. John Michael Schmitz, the center I wanted, is gone. But there are a couple other guys
Tippmann, maybe.
that are available. Okay. We are now down to 54. By the way, Cody Mauch went 2 picks ahead of 54.
Okay. So is Darnell Washington still there?
Let's take a look. Him and
I like Sam Laporta.
Yeah, as I say, him and Laporta are the two guys that, like, no, he did go off the board.
Okay.
Before 54. Where did he go? 47. So he is gone. We could look at offensive linemen. Who do we have for center?
Yeah, I want to see who. Center is a possibility.
So Joe Tippmann.
Oh, we picked. Okay, so we're at 54 right now, but according to the trades we also made, Bears are going to be picking 54, 62, and 64.
Yeah.
So 3 of the next 10 picks.
Yeah. So we have some flexibility here. I think we kind of look at best player available.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So a guy that I like that has some really good versatility, and I know we did sign Draymond Jones, but is the guy out of Northwestern, had an extremely fast, a great combine, is Adetomiwa Adebore. Okay. Like some people just call him Tommy. That's a guy I would definitely consider here.
I like him. He could play end or inside.
I like building through the trenches right now. Like,
okay.
We got to beef up these trenches.
It's always good to take a Nigerian too, I think.
So I think we go with him.
Adetomiwa.
I do think he does. He projects more as a 3-tech, but he could play end.
Okay. Oh no, I was gonna say all Big Ten, but we took the Kansas State guy.
Yeah. So right now we got Sam Laporta available. If we wanted to go tight end, he's out of Iowa.
Okay.
Another Big Ten. A corner that I like is Travius Hodges Tomlinson out of TCU.
So we didn't talk about this. We do think it's very important for them to get a third corner.
Yes.
And we didn't address it in free agency.
But we did keep Kendall Vildor. So
we did keep Vildor.
They have some flexibility, and there's going to be guys that are out there.
There's guys, okay. But this could be a place to take one if you like one.
Yeah. So he is the highest ranked corner. No, he's not. Garrett Williams is for them, but I personally have the TCU corner higher. Just to give you a little bit of information that I have on him.
So let me ask you, now, we kept Lucas Patrick. But if there's a center here that we like, do you draft that guy and then Lucas Patrick's a later cut to give us a little bit more cap space?
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Okay. So who are centers? Because I could see us taking a center here as well.
Tippmann would be the guy, probably.
Is he available?
Yes.
Still?
Yeah. So if we wanted to go center here, just to make sure we got him.
Okay.
So Weipler's available too, but I have Tippmann ranked higher.
All right. So that's an option here. Laporta as a tight end would be an option.
Yeah.
And we're picking now and 2 picks later.
2 picks later. So
okay.
Let's
get the center.
All right. Let's just take Tippmann now.
Trenches.
Put the Chiefs on the clock. What?
Uh-oh. You didn't do 7 rounds.
Are you kidding me? Son of a biscuit.
Not going to get all those same picks.
I'm going to replicate it.
How are you going to do that?
Just watch.
All right. So Tippmann, and then we hope that...
Do you have it written down, the guys?
Yeah, I got the guys, but I don't think the draft board's going to go the exact same way.
We only care about ours.
I guess. You got it. Did you pick 7? Did you see where you pick it?
Yeah, I did it.
Oh, no. Unless we go much faster...
I'm not going to speak to anything. I'm just going to go through it.
I know, but I'm saying I don't think all those same guys will be available.
Okay, 7.
So the trade was...
I got it.
Oh, you got the trade?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess since there was only... No, we did do 2, right? Yeah, we did 2 trades.
Yep.
7 and then to 10. So 1 to 7. 7 to 10.
It's not letting me.
All right.
This is what happens when things go wrong.
But we've addressed a lot of different holes, a lot of needs. We got maybe a number 1 receiver. So now, I mean, I felt last year they came into the season with just a lot of guys and not very many panned out. And so now you're going to go into this season, a lot of guys, but with more upside, higher ceilings. So I'm very excited about that wide receiver room. The next two picks were both on the D line, an end and a end or interior player, and then the center. So again, we are addressing the trenches. We are building through the draft. I'm excited about what we got. And then maybe we were going to look at possibly getting a tight end here to go along with Komet at 64.
What was it? 10 and 32 or 62? Yeah.
62, yeah. Okay, you got that?
Yep.
And now the Lions got Tyree Wilson instead of Jalen Carter. So that's a little bit better for I don't know. That sounds pretty rough too. Either one of those guys with Aiden Hutchinson is scary news for Fields. That's why you need a better O-line. And right now we've built a much better O-line. So let's hope at 38. We still got our guy. Wait, why does it say? Oh, yeah, 38. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we pick at 54. He's always going to be there in the ones I've been doing. All right. Let's see. Got him. 62 Tippmann. And then we're kind of right where we were.
We're back on track.
And we're back. Huddle up.
This is what happens when I force trades.
This is what happens when you shoot live. All right. Here we go.
All right.
We're in.
64.
So 64. Sam Laporta would be a nice pick here.
Sam Laporta would be a great pick, or we go with the corner. What do we got for offensive tackle? We didn't take an offensive tackle earlier. Who's available?
Oh, yeah.
He's more of a left.
When we could have had DeJuan Jones at 38, we did not take him. Who else is out there? We missed on Mausch. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Is Blake Freeland available?
He is, but he projects more as a left.
Okay. Do you wait even longer? Braxton Jones was a 5th round pick.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to pass on it.
All right. I like Sam Laporta.
All right, let's go with Laporta. He's got some speed. He's got some wheels.
Just Big Ten.
Plus, Iowa tight ends.
I know.
Iowa tight ends just pan out.
I
right?
know. They could have had.
It's like Wisconsin linebackers.
Who am I thinking of? Kittle.
Yes.
Back in the day.
5th round pick, also, I believe.
All right. So now we got pick 70 coming up here.
Let's see.
And what have we not addressed? Okay, let me ask you something. Is this where you might take a running back?
Oh, yeah. That's actually a good thought.
And maybe we should have looked at that before taking a tight end, but I don't know.
Yeah, there.
All right, who's available at running back right now? I'm sure some of the big names are off the board. I believe Robinson went in the 1st round, if I'm not mistaken.
To be honest, I kind of want to wait on running back because
Okay.
I have a guy that I really like, and I know you're going to like him too.
Oh, you said that. Now you just gave it away.
Yeah.
ILL, baby.
Yeah. So Tank Bigsby is the guy that I have ranked the highest here on the board. Who's left? Dwayne McBride is another one. Dwayne McBride actually reminds me a lot of David Montgomery.
Interesting. Okay.
But because we brought Montgomery back, I don't really think it's like necessary to really go now for a running back.
I guess you're not keeping a secret from me, so we might as well not keep a secret from the listeners.
Chase Brown.
Chase Brown is somebody we're interested in. We're at pick 70 right now. Do you just take him because you like him?
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
No.
He's going to be around at
There's
103?
so many running backs left.
Okay.
So many.
I trust you. He did have a very good combine. I don't know if this takes that into account.
All
All right.
I'm gonna put it out there. I think we need a corner, and I think we go for Travius Hodges Tomlinson.
I trust you.
That's my guy.
I trust you. Travius Hodges Tomlinson.
Yeah, he is
From where? TCU.
Yeah, he's a smaller guy. He's only 5'9", 5'10", but he can play both.
Okay.
He's got versatility at both positions.
If he comes in and plays the slot, you can move Gordon to the outside where he was better.
Yeah, or vice versa.
Or vice versa. Or as my freshman basketball coach used to say, versa vice.
Versa vice.
It used to bother me a lot.
Did he
Coach
do it on
Blaine,
purpose?
shout out to you, Coach Blaine.
Did he do it on purpose, or he just always got it wrong?
It's just how he said it. Like, I think he says it that way. I've heard other people actually, occasionally, but it sounded like nails on a chalkboard to me, and it was surprising how often he said it. So, best player available, even though I want Chase Brown, always go best player available. And that's a guy who's won many a fantasy championship, so we're sticking with that. We got our corner. All right, we're at 103 now.
So you know what position we haven't really addressed is the nose tackle.
Okay.
Moro Ojomo is a guy out of Texas who could potentially be that guy. Like, I don't think you count on him. Like, I think you find another guy in free agency that we didn't address. Like, you want a big body. We were talking actually with Bob about this the other day. You want a big body, like someone who can eat up space, right?
And cookies.
And cookies. And I think he could take on that position.
Okay.
Or at least push to play that position. So I think that would be our best bet here.
All right, let's do it.
So we are now out of
what's his last name?
Ojomo. Ojomo.
Okay.
We have one more pick in the fourth round, and then we will move on.
What number? I don't have any more of the picks written down.
Right,
so
134 is next.
134.
Then we got 137 in the fifth, 149 in the fifth, and then we wrap it up with 219.
All right. One of these should be a quarterback, correct?
No.
You're not getting a quarterback?
No, we're going to get your guy right now. Chase Brown.
No. I said one of these picks.
What? Chase Brown was taken off the board. I waited too long.
I told you.
No way.
Oh, whatever. I
He
told
went
you, man.
4 picks. This isn't going to happen. Dallas took him.
I mean, Zeke's
Damn it.
on his way out.
So
pretty
what I like
soon.
about Chase Brown, he's just like a home run hitter. Like, he gets the ball in his hands, and that guy just goes. Right? Like,
Yeah.
5'11", 200 pounds.
He's a patient runner, too, though.
He's very patient.
Oh, man. All right. We waited too long on our guy. Now,
Yeah.
I think another halfback you like is Dwayne McBride.
Yeah, he's available. I think that's who we got to go with.
All right, we're taking him.
I
And then we're going to
UAB.
trade him straight up for Chase Brown. No.
Yeah, I think so. Another 2 other guys I do like, though, that are available is Eric Gray out of Oklahoma and Kenny McIntosh out of Georgia.
Okay.
But
All right. Now we're at 137. We've addressed receiver. We've addressed edge rusher. We've addressed interior D-line. We've addressed center. We've addressed tight end. We've addressed corner. And we just got a halfback. So we've hit it all. I think the rest is way. Either we look at a backup quarterback or a project quarterback. Might be the time for that, or would you wait?
so I know the guy I like that's on here is Malik Cunningham. He's more of a developmental guy. But there's guys that, Stetson Bennett out of Georgia just won a national championship, right? Like, could he be the next Brock Purdy? He's not really the type of quarterback as Justin Fields, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a possibility. Max Duggan out of TCU is also available.
He ran a crazy 40 time, didn't he?
I have no idea. I didn't see that.
I thought he was the fastest quarterback, but I could be wrong.
The fastest quarterback, I believe, was Anthony Richardson.
Oh, yeah.
4.4
Sorry.
speed.
Yeah, he was definitely
Justin
faster.
Fields.
So I don't know what
4.44.
list I saw, but Duggan was at the top.
We got a comment in here. Bob Weiss says no. I'm assuming that
was
is
the Chase
probably the
Brown
Chase
coming
Brown.
off the board, 4 picks.
Yeah.
I saw that go up there.
Adrian has a comment here. I think I would take Devon Hargrave as the 3 tech. The 3 technique on a 3-year deal just because he's a better scheme fit and Super Bowl experience and draft a DT. So you're saying you want Hargrave over Draymond Jones is what I'm taking it at.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. I think him.
Jones is a lot younger.
Yeah, so I think if you went with Hargrave, he does have a connection with Ian Cunningham.
True.
Right. So and he probably could come cheaper because of his age.
That's true.
So if you are trying to maybe build through the draft more and like you said, kind of on a smaller short-term deal, definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
And
So this is one possibility. There are literally thousands of possibilities out there with what the Bears have put themselves in position to do.
yes.
Now, the advantage there on a 3-year deal, that aligns right with when Fields you're going to need to re-up him and he'll be off his rookie deal. So I do like the idea of some of these deals expiring after 3 years so that you have the money to sign Fields if you choose to, or quite a bit of money coming off the books if you're going to go a different route.
Yes.
So that's a good idea, Adrian.
All right. What do we need? We took a corner already. What about safety?
We could go safety. I mean, we've hit a lot of different areas, I think.
Yeah. I like Quindell Johnson out of Memphis. Let's look at tackle. We did not take any tackles.
Okay, that's true. Maybe is there any sleeper that has fallen?
Do we go with another Big Ten guy?
I mean, it's the conference keeps getting bigger. Let's be honest. Pretty soon, UCLA and USC are going to count as Big Ten as well.
Yeah,
and those are schools where I would take some players. Why? Who are you looking at? Who's a Big Ten guy?
Ryan Hayes. None of these guys
from Michigan.
None of these guys do anything for me. Is the problem?
Well, we missed our chance.
I think we waited a little too long.
We missed our chance. Okay, so. Still take a guy.
Yeah. So this is the problem with the draft is like you never know what's going to happen, right?
Well, I think in the first one we would have gotten our guy.
Yeah,
it's because you made us reset.
That's true. that threw this all off, and we would have had Chase Brown.
Exactly in a different parallel universe. And Chase Brown goes on to be Super Bowl MVP in his rookie year. I mean, you think Pacheco should have gotten a nod?
Yes. I'm sorry. We've had this conversation.
I don't think the Bears are quite in that position, but hey, let's dream. All right, we got to take a pick. The clock is almost running out. I don't want to be the Minnesota Vikings and
don't say that.
Lose your pick because you took too long.
Don't say that. Okay, so if we look just at safety.
All right, safety is a good position to address because Eddie Jackson we like as a cornerstone, but he is getting up there.
Yeah, so I mentioned the one guy that I really like. The other guy, though, and I hate to bring it up, just because he's an Ohio State guy again, is Ronnie Hickman. And he could also play some special teams. And you don't need a starting safety. So, like, could he develop, like, behind Eddie Jackson? But out of these two, I'm leaning Quindell Johnson out of Memphis. Do you have any?
I do not. I'm not as well versed as you are.
So I will say
deep in the draft. So
I've only gotten through 125 players, and most of these guys are.
That's 100 more than I have.
Okay, well, most of these guys are not like I know of them, and I've like touched base on them, but I have not gotten in depth with them. Like I have literal notes and everything on other players. We will dive deeper into the draft as we get closer, and my sheet gets better.
Well, I know you also show up at their homes and do impromptu interviees with them too, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
And if they're not available,
but it brings us the info.
If they're not available, I get their like I Zoom them, right?
Okay. Sometimes it's a Zoom call. You know?
Sometimes I like wait outside their.
Or do you just like stalk them on social media?
I just wait outside their like place of their school, like their place of business, their parents' place of business. I find them.
But that's why we get the hard hitting data we need. So we're going Quindell Johnson.
Yes.
Because he's not from the Big Ten.
Oh, by the way, real quick, some news, breaking news, not breaking. It happened earlier today, but the Texans lost their 5th round pick because they did some salary cap issues. And that could be why they're not offering a trade to the Chicago Bears because they're 1 pick less.
That's right. Now, can I also just say something that I like? Maybe you can speak to it, or we've gone a bit long anyway, but
yeah, we did.
They made a recent coaching addition, right? Assistant O-line.
Yes.
Is he from Titans?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Anything to be excited about there, or?
I mean,
not sure.
Anytime you can steal. I mean, he was given a position over there where he was like some type of analyst instead of a coach. It was very strange.
So he's like, screw you
so
guys?
I think he kind of thought that was like a demotion.
Okay, because I thought it was kind of lateral, but
yeah.
Better title, maybe. All right, we got 2 more picks, 149 and 219. One of them's got to be a quarterback.
Yeah.
So just read us the names. If anyone out there is listening and has
changed.
All right, Aiden O'Connell from Purdue
has a ton of yardage in his Purdue career.
First listener to tell us the name they want off of this list.
I still lean Malik Cunningham. Let's see what wide receiver. We still need wide receivers. I like Ronnie Bell out of Michigan. 6-foot guy. He's got some size. That's the only guy. Matt Landers out of Arkansas is
What's
6'5".
the deal with this Puka Nakua
I
guy?
honestly have not watched anything on him. I have no idea.
Have you heard his name? His
No.
name came up something.
No.
Can you click on him? Or
Yeah.
would it say anything?
But Matt Landers is 6'5", guys. 6'5", if we want him.
Okay. Well, someone out there, listener, if you know anything about a BYU receiver, Puka Nakua, it's a name I heard. I just don't recall what was unique or special about him.
He had a much better season with Zach Wilson.
Is that a knock or? I don't know how to take that.
So I'm leaning Ronnie Bell
All right.
out of these guys.
Big Ten?
Yeah, God,
It's okay.
why?
It's okay.
This is like the Big Ten draft, guys. This is awful.
I don't think so. I like what we're doing.
I know, but like we're some SEC guys. There's our
Yeah, that's true.
Alabamas
That's
and our
true. That's true.
Georgias, and this is kind
Do you
of.
count Fields as an SEC guy or a Big Ten guy?
I count him as a Big Ten guy.
All right. I like what we got there. All right. Last pick for us, 219. We're going to try to get our quarterback project.
Yeah, it's gonna be Malik Cunningham.
Third stringer. He'll be there.
Unless he goes off the board. I'm watching. He's still available.
Okay.
I'll be really shocked if he goes.
2 picks before us. Eric Gray just went
I know.
way late. Puka Nakua to the Dallas Cowboys.
They've taken all the guys you like. All right,
All right. We're going to take our quarterback.
Malik Cunningham.
Malik
He's
Cunningham.
a developmental passer. Has some running upside. If they had to play the type of offense that they were running with Justin Fields because they couldn't throw it to anybody,
He could
he
play
could
him on the
step
scout
in.
team.
Yeah.
All right. So it'll grade our draft. You have to copy it real quick, or are you a member or something? Because I have to like copy it super fast.
Oh no, I can just like get a PDF then.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna give us an A because that's how awesome we are. But I do gotta say, like, I'm a little disappointed in some of the decisions that we ended up going with. But
we didn't get a tackle.
we didn't. But if we wanted Jones, then we would have had another Ohio State guy. And we can't think of it that way, though.
No,
right?
I don't think of it that
and
way.
we got an A for Felix Anudike.
Azuma.
No, say the middle part again. I said it wrong. Anudike?
Anudike.
So yeah, our first 3 picks, A plus. We got an A- for the draft. They did not like my Ronnie Bell pick at 5th round at 149, but I like it. He's got some upside. So
Yeah, basically we would have done better if we didn't take your picks at the end.
yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. And
All right,
that's-
so
hey, we
let's
got a
just-
B plus for Malik Cunningham, by the way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
So let's look big picture. Now there's still money. They would have to probably sign a couple more guys that we're not going to get into, but let's very quickly go over what you look at as like a starting 22 maybe, or how much did we impact the Bears in this mock offseason? Obviously, Orlando Brown was the huge signing, as was Draymond Jones, both immediate impact starters. Ben Powers, same way. You're plugging him in right away. So your O-line now is Orlando Brown, Ben Powers, probably Tippmann starting at center.
Yep.
Jenkins at right guard, and then an audition at right tackle. Maybe it's Braxton Jones.
I think it's going to be Braxton Jones, unless you find another right tackle in free agency, like a Riley Reef.
That's a pretty good line, I think.
Well, here's
An
the
upgrade
thing.
from what they had going into this season.
On paper, it's an upgrade, and we addressed the trenches, and that's huge because the trenches have been what is lacking, right? So we have Justin Fields, obviously, Montgomery and Khalil Herbert together. Cole Kmet stayed the same, but we added Laporta. The wide receivers, we got JSN to go with Claypool and Mooney. That's, I think, an upgrade. That's a huge upgrade. We got
Jones.
We got extra picks, guys, for 2024. Bob, if you're still listening, we're getting Marvin Harrison Jr.
Now listen to this. So there was all this stuff about what do you do with Fields? This team that is fielded right now is much, much better. If he has a great season, you're on to something. If he has a crap season with that much talent around him now you have 2 picks in 2024.
Yeah.
You could package those maybe to get Caleb Williams or whoever you need to get. You wouldn't have Marvin Harrison Jr. in that scenario.
No.
But you also got 2 in 2025. All this while Fields is still on his rookie deal. You and I think he is the real deal.
Yeah.
So you're going to be able to put talent around him those years as well. You are building something for the now, for the future, and I'm excited. The Arlington Heights Bears are going to be something.
So just real quick on the defense, we also addressed, we have a whole new defensive line with Zach Allen, Draymond Jones. And we're going to have to get a free agent to throw in there, and Ojomo can compete with them. And Justin Houston, I know he's 34 years old, but the guy can still ball. He can get to the quarterback. We got Sanborn back from injury. In the middle, we got Bobby Okereke next to him. We're typically going to be in the nickel, so I'm not so concerned about the Sam linebacker. I'm actually moving Kyler Gordon back to nickel at this point until we know who else we bring in, and we're going to play Kindle Vildor on the outside opposite of Jalen Johnson. That's how they started this year. I think they'll see it the same
Gordon
way.
Will play inside slot.
Yep. And we got Brisker and Eddie Jackson.
I'm okay with this.
It's a playoff team, but let me tell you, it's not a Super Bowl team, guys. They're not going to the Super Bowl. They're not. This is a 2024 potential Super Bowl team, not 2023.
You're building something with what we just did there.
Yeah.
So I'm excited, man. That was really well done, I think.
Took us a little bit longer than I thought.
It wasn't far-fetched. I mean,
no,
there are things anyone could critique and
anybody could say anything
and say anything, but it's one possible route. You change one little thing here, it could change everything.
If you don't go Orlando Brown,
right?
That we said that set up our whole free agency, and guys, we're gonna know about that Monday. Next week.
Yeah, Monday.
Like we might have to like do an emergency short pod depending on what happens.
Yeah, we might have to. So, all right. Well, Halas Huddlers, we hope you enjoyed the live episode. We do have a promotion coming up for once we get some more subscribers. So please, if you're listening to this for the first time, subscribe and share with others as well. Like Rob said, we're going to be coming in when there's breaking news and doing our regular episodes. There's a lot more to still cover this off season.
And we might have a guest coming up too.
So,
all
right. I like it. Bear down.
Yeah, bear down.
Huddle up.
Good job.
I guess it's huddle up and bear down. What do you think?